Just fooling, just fooling. The sound is just fine, I think. Well, welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and I'm going to be talking to you today about communications failures, like what happens in your airplane. This one here doesn't come equipped with radio, but I might be using it later, just to demonstrate something. And yeah, I'll be telling you all that stuff in my basement. All right, so this kind of comes from a request from one of my 30 viewers that I always get watching me. Uh, I do take requests, and yeah, it's like a lot of people are wondering, what happens if my radio fails in the airplane. Now, I've kind of discussed that a little bit here and there in previous videos that I've done, but I've never done anything very specifically. This is exactly what you do. So I guess the first thing I would probably talk about is that in anything aviation, there are always whatever is the safest thing to do. That's the right thing to do. And then when it comes to communications, well, an airplane doesn't really need a radio to fly around; just needs an engine and a wing, and all that other stuff that keeps it up in the air. With the communication, maybe you're dealing with air traffic controllers, and you are I don't know, dealing. You might be making position reports for other airplanes to know where you are, and so ultimately, I was looking into it for VFR, which stands for Visual Flight Rules. So airplanes, they have their own little rules of the sky, just like that the cars have rules of the road. Airplanes have rules of the sky, and it's the rules for good weather and the rules for crappy weather. So they call it Visual Flight Rules, where you're looking out the window, you're checking things out, and watching out for other airplanes. Then the instrument flight rules, where you're just strictly looking at your instruments. You could be flying using those rules, but it's a beautiful day. But then you got to go through a cloud or something like that where you can't see. You're on your instruments. Okay, now that's instrument flight rules. So I'm talking about my specialty is visual flight rules, and I like VFR because, hey, who wants to go flying in crappy weather? So anyways, yeah. So if you're having what you got to think about for any type of communications failure, whether it is IFR or VFR, is that what are the air traffic controllers expecting you to do? Because when you leave your local airport, you're going to be telling them, yeah, I'm doing a local flight somewhere. So they know, okay, he's hanging around the area, or she's just going to be flying not too far away. And I know at my airport here in Windsor, after talking to the air traffic controllers there, they say that like after about like most flights are usually about an hour, even if it's just like a little sightseeing flight around with your friends, or if it's a flight school, the lessons are right around an hour. So the air traffic controllers, they know if you're doing a local flight, they're expecting you to come back. And they say like after about an hour and 15 minutes, they start to get a little antsy, and they start thinking like, ooh, are they going to be making it back? Was there an emergency? Is there something wrong? So they are expecting you to come back if it's a local flight. Now, if it's now this is the way it is in Canada. It's different in other countries, but in Canada, anyways, if you're going somewhere, you're going from, say, I'm living in Windsor, Ontario. I'm going to fly up to London, Ontario, not London, England. My little planes can't go that far. But yeah, so I'm going to London, and so you would call up Nav Canada. That's our kind of agency that takes care of all the air traffic controls. And you say, yeah, I'm flying from Windsor to London. You file a flight plan. And you say, okay, I'm leaving at this time. I should be there at that time. There's this many people on board. I have this much fuel. And they can expect, now they're expecting you to go to London. So that's what they're expecting. So if your communications fail anywhere in there, locally, they're expecting you to come back to the airport. If it's on a flight plan, they're expecting you to execute your flight plan. And so if you have any type of communications failure, can just continue on with your plan. And the pros up in the tower, they know they've trained for this. They know what to expect. And So I was, and now I'm going to be putting a link in the description below to the rules that I'm talking about. All this information can be found in they call it the TC AIM, so Transport Canada Aeronautical Information Manual. There's all these acronyms in aviation. So TC AIM, and I'll put a link to that below, and I'll save you some googling if you're a pilot out there. And I just printed out, yeah, so it's in the RAC section. There's another acronym, Radios and Communication, in the TC AIM. Anyways, yeah. So it says, and then they also talk about the Canadian or Canada aviation regulations, the CARS. So CARS 602.138 specifies that where there is a two-way radio communication failure between the controlling air traffic control unit and a VFR aircraft while operating in Class B, C, or D airspace, the pilot in command shall, here we go, we got the shall, so this is what you got to do. You got to leave the airspace. Number one, leave the airspace. So wait a minute. So if I'm just going to be flying around somewhere, practicing like even takeoffs and landings in the circuit, wait a minute, I got to leave the airspace. This is where it's worded really strangely here. And I kind of goofed up on one of my flight tests. I think it was my commercial. Yeah, I think it was my commercial flight test. I goofed up on this answer. They said, "What if you got a communications failure?" And I said, "I'd go land at that other airport. There's no air traffic control," which was the wrong answer. Because I'd be like, "But they said you're supposed to leave the airspace." But I never read the fine print here that says you can leave the airspace by landing. So here I am. I am now in Class D or Class C airspace, and I will leave the airspace. Okay, I'm not in the air anymore. There you go. So like that's a little thing that when you see leave the airspace, keep reading, read the fine print. And yeah, and they're expecting you to go in and land. Now, yeah, and then what you would do there, and what I've talked to our controller towers about. So what you do is you'd come in to land, and you're looking around. You don't have. Wait a minute, hey Jordan, you're here. I forget. What are you supposed to squawk again? You put on your transponder if you have a communications failure. Yeah, let me know there, Jordan. I think I forgot that one. So yeah, so you're coming into land and you're looking for a green light from the tower, and that means a steady green means you're cleared to land. If you don't see that, overshoot, go around, try it again, and then just come in and land. There we go, Jordan. 7,600. You should be squawking 7,600. Thank you for that. When you're flying around with an obviously busted radio. Now the thing is, when your radio is broken, it might be just that you can't hear it. Maybe the control tower can hear you just fine. So just keep doing all the radio calls that you would normally do, and look for light signals. And that's if you're in the control zone, you're doing touch and goes or something. Now, it also says here, where the aircraft is equipped with a transponder, set the transponder code to 7600, just like Jordan told us to do. And we also got, if you're operating, should the communications failure occur while operating outside of Class B, C, or D airspace, precluding the pilot from obtaining the appropriate clearance to enter or establishing radio contact, and if no nearby suitable aerodrome is available. Here we go. This is the tricky part here, and it's right in the TCA, as that you may continue under VFR, under visual flight rules, so it has to be good weather, and shall carry out the remaining procedures listed in A, another little part here. So what you would do is, so if you're outside of the control zone, you said you're going to do a local flight. The control tower is expecting you to come back. So do what they expect. Come back in. You're squawking 76. You're still broadcasting, hey, I got a communications failure. I'm not hearing anybody here. What's this? I got a CB radio all of a sudden? But no, you'd be hitting the little push to talk switch. And then you would come in, and I'll kind of show you what the way that there's like a standard procedure that you would fly at an airport where there's no radio. It's called a NORDO, no radio procedure. And this is what you could do. You could do this at any airport. And yeah, another thing they might do too is if you're squawking 7600, you might hear them, but they don't hear you or something like that. And so they might say, okay, squawk ident. You hit the little ident button, you light up on their screen. Now they know they have you can. They're not hearing you, but you can hear them, and they can just tell you what to do. Cleared to land. Boom. There you go. Acknowledged by rocking your wings. Acknowledged by squawking ident. So I'll just kind of show you really quickly here on my whiteboard. Oh, no, it's cardboard. This is, what was that? Yeah, I think that's where I got my my meat box, the local farmer meat box. Smells like beef. No, it was frozen when I bought it. Okay, so I'm going to make a little airport here. We'll make it nice and simple. And we're going to draw a draw a circuit pattern here. All right, so there we go. And so you might go into the runway and you don't know which runway is being used. It might be the one going this way, or it might be coming this way. So what do you do at that point is you fly overhead at, okay, let's start off over here. 1,500 feet above ground level, 1,500 AGL. So you're going to come over here and you're going to cross overhead. Now, all the guys doing their touch and goes down here in their little circuit pattern, they're all at 1,000 feet. So you're not going to hit anybody. You're 500 feet above them, which is good spacing for that. And you're going to go check out the runway. So you might see that there's a windsock there. Okay, so the windsock, we'll say the wind is favoring, we'll draw a windsock over here. What a great looking windsock. There we go. I did a video on windsocks, calling them sausages. So there's your sausage. The wind is blowing it this way. So here's your wind. All right, the wind's blowing that way. So it means we always take off and land into the wind, just like seagulls do. Did you ever notice that? Seagulls are always standing and they're always looking into the wind. So if there's a predator, they already got that air going over the wings and they can just take off into the wind. And you'll see if the wind shifts, all the birds will shift too with it. I noticed that when I was walking to school all the time, learning how to fly. So yeah, you're flying over 1,500 feet. And then you find out, you see the windsock down here, and you go, oh, okay, so it means I got to go join this no radio circuit pattern somehow. So what you're going to do is you're going to fly over here, and you're going to hang a bit of a right, do kind of a little teardrop thing, and then you're going to go shoot straight across here. And this whole time here, you're descending. And by the time you cross, you want to be at 1,000 feet AGL, 1,000 feet above ground level. There you go. So you do your descending turn over here. What do we got here? Jordan asks, sausages? Are we talking a boot breakfast with Graham? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I get what you're saying there, Jordan. But anyways. Oh yeah, that's right. But Jordan's always having like pancakes for breakfast. He's got the deluxe version there. So yeah, there we go. So we're going to fly over here, and then we're going to hang a left. We're going to fly our airplane going this way here. All right, hang a left, and you come in here, and now you're looking at the control tower to see if you get a green light. Now they probably saw you. If you have no communications at all, they're going to look up and they're going to say, what's this guy doing flying around here? Oh, we're expecting Graham back here after, yeah, it's been an hour. We're expecting Graham back. Oh, that's the plane he left in. Okay. So you might come down here, and probably if you're over on the base leg over here, you take a look at the control tower. We'll say the control tower is here, right midfield. That kind of looks like a control tower. There we go. Control towers, they always have the windows are always kind of, I don't know, I guess they're always kind coming out like this, like a V, and I think that's to eliminate glare from the windows. Yeah, and then so okay, we look over here, we look at it, we see a green light, steady green. Okay, we got cleared, we go in and land, everything's cool. Or maybe they're not, they don't see you. So then what you do at that point, you don't land unless you have a clearance, right? So what you do is you do kind of a low approach, a little low and over here. You don't land, give her the gas, go up, join the circuit again. And then at that point, they will see you and they'll be like, oh, hey, okay. And then, yeah, then you come back in. And even if you don't see the green, land, they know you're there. They're expecting you back. They've seen you do a low approach here and they're freaking out. So, yeah. You don't have to keep quiet, Jordan. You can make all the comments you want. That's what I want here. Lots of comments. Okay, so that's how you would do it. You'd come in and land. There was one guy, one air traffic controller. I guess what they do for when they're training to be air traffic controllers, I guess they have a simulator for that, and so there'll be a simulated control tower, and there'll be like a screen that up there that shows like planes coming in and landing and stuff. And this one controller, he was telling me that he was doing all these clearances and all this fancy stuff, and he kept noticing this one airplane just kind of going in front of the like in the simulator, and he didn't know what that was all about. And then the airplane just kind of stopped going there. So so afterwards he got debriefed and he's like, what, you didn't even deal with that guy's communications failure? So I forget what controller told me that. It was one of those ones anyways. But yeah, so he got dinged on that for his training, and so he'll never forget that one, that's for sure. And yeah, so there we go, a little VFR communications failure. That's what you do. And when I decided to do the VFR stuff instead of the IFR, because like now the IFR communication procedures, there's a lot more rules about that, like because when you're flying strictly with reference to your instruments, it's a lot more controlled environment there. So they know you're flying exactly from here to here. They gave you a route. You're flying from here to here to here to here to here. It's kind of like you're driving your truck down the highway. You're not just like off-roading in a farmer's field or something like that, like us VFR guys do. And so yeah, the IFR procedures, for the written test, when you write that one, they go into that. You really have to know that to pass it. So it's for IFR. It's pretty well. Anyone that has that rating knows exactly what to do. But the VFR stuff, like it's a little more loosey goosey. So and I'll. But like I said, in the basement. I'm in the basement. Yeah, in the description below, I'm going to put a link to it, where all the rules of the sky are. And yeah, there we go. So that was about it from the rack section 4.4.1 in the TC AIM. And there we go. Very pilotish today, but hey, this is super pilotish channel, right? And it's also very cool today because the weather's awesome. The other day it was kind of raining when I was in my garage. It's gorgeous out there today. Beautiful fall day. It's going to get up to about 17 degrees. And I'm going flying after this. Cool. So anyways, yeah, that's about it. Thanks for showing up, everybody. So, today is Friday. Yeah. So, okay. Everyone have a good weekend, and we'll catch you back here Monday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern. And there we go. Yeah, Harold and Jordan, thanks for coming in. You guys have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. Bye.